What is the Higher Education Services Corporation of New York State?
We are a state agency, and our shorter name is HESC. HESC is the state student financial agency. Our mission is to help New Yorkers pay for college. We actually administer one of the largest entitlement programs in the country, known as the Tuition Assistance Program, and we have a lot of acronyms in our world, and most people would know that as the TAP grant.
Right. Now, Mary Lawyer, how do you work with Jennifer and with the Higher Education Services Corporation of New York State from your position at Siena College?
In addition to being the Associate Vice President, I am also the college's Chief Financial Aid Officer, so the Financial Aid Office falls under my area of responsibility at the college. And we work with HESC in a variety of ways, from our students at the college receiving the Tuition Assistance Program grant. About 1,800 of our students receive that grant program, to loan management default, to outreach in the community in terms of educating the community about the financial aid process and that funding's available.
Now, Jennifer, how can the Higher Education Services Corporation of New York State be of benefit to kids that are in high school right now watching this program, or parents or grandparents that are worried about their child or grandchild going through college?
We are actively engaged in an outreach program that's very much based on the website. They can visit our website, which is startheregetthere.org. Within our website, they will find tips and tools for getting to the financial aid programs that colleges administer. The biggest thing that people need to be aware of is the FAFSA, Free Application for Federal Student Aid, is the form that's considered the gateway to get to the other sources of financial aid. So you can get to the federal financial aid, you can get to New York State financial aid, and it also assists you in getting access to the college grants and scholarships that are available. So our mission right now is to get people to understand it all starts with taking the step of at least filing the FAFSA form.
Okay, before we get into the process of filing, I see that you have 529 college savings programs that are available to students without getting into all 529 unless you want to.
Actually, it's called the 529 College Saves Plan, I think is what you're referring to, and that is administered by New York State. It's actually a savings account plan where families can contribute to a college savings on a pre-tax base. The money goes in, and then you actually can get a tax credit on your New York State tax form if you participate in the states. When college comes, we actually will pay the funds directly to the college on behalf of the family, so we help administer it to get the money paid to the campus. So it's one college savings plan called the 529. It's interest generating, it's administered, and it's a really nice way to families tuck away some money to get additional monies to pay for college later on.
Now, I don't know who wants to answer this one. How does, because you both work with it, how does one get involved, either parents or students or both together, in the free application for student aid program, which you call FAFSA, whichever?
Sure. It's the free application for federal student aid, as Jen said, is the gateway to really securing financial aid from a variety of sources. And it's very easy. It's on the internet. It's www.fafsa.gov. You can go right on the internet, and there's a lot of tools to help you start preparing to file the form. So you can get information about what documents do you need, what questions is it going to ask, and then it just steps you right through the process. So it's relatively easy. It's an interface and a medium that most people are used to today on the internet. You don't have to go anywhere and pick up a form or make photocopies. So it's relatively easy today.
Now, Jennifer, how do financial aid offices help the student? Do you go to a college, or even though you're not in college, and go to the office, or what do you do?
Within our website, the startheregetthere.org, we do run public events all across New York State to get assistance in filing the free application for federal student aid. One of the things we like to remind families is that the first F in FAFSA stands for free. There are services out there that will charge money, in some cases significant money, to file this form. As Mary indicated, there's blanks on the form, but if you have your W-2, your pay stubs, your tax returns, your Social Security number, these are all things that you should be able to fill out. If you hit roadblocks, you do call New York State, we can help people. We have an email address, fafsahelp@hesc.org, that will be answered and you'll get a response. Financial aid offices are very generous with their time in helping people fill out these forms. We don't want anyone to become so intimidated by the forms or the process that it paralyzes them and edges them out of getting all the grant and free money that they can receive.
Now, Mary, obviously you have those people who will come to you in your position at Siena College. What are some of the most frequently asked questions by students or parents or grandparents?
Well, I think ultimately people are always concerned about, ultimately, what is it going to cost me to attend your college or college overall? You know, and what are the sources of financial aid that can help me afford to attend your college? So concerns about that, concerns about how much debt am I going to have to take for this private institution is another concern. You know, in getting through the paperwork. The other thing that we handle quite a bit of in the recent years is families who have had changes in circumstances. You know, their income isn't once what it was. Overtime budgets have been cut, jobs have been lost. So those kinds of special extenuating circumstances are really important for families to communicate with the college's financial aid office so they can understand that and take that into account when they're looking at the student's financial aid.
Jennifer, what types of financial aid are available to students in 2011, 2012?
We focus always and utmost on the free forms of financial aid. Those will be termed grants and scholarships. The federal government provides a large grant program. The Pell Grant program is something to look for. And something to say as we go through all these different types of aid, each college will present the family with what's called an award letter. And all of these things will be spelled out on the award letter for the families.
What is the Pell Grant program?
It's a federal entitlement program where, based on a family's expected contribution, and this is why the FAFSA is so important, the federal Pell Grant right now awards up to $5,550 per year. So it's a large grant program to help people pay for college. New York State's entitlement program, which is the tuition assistance, right now our awards go up to $5,000. So when you have a family who needs assistance, and our neediest of families, those numbers can add up to be a significant contribution towards their cost of college. There are colleges and universities that have their own what's called institutional aid, and many of our colleges make large grant awards to needy families.
What is the, you have a whole list in there, and I just want to let our viewers know it's available. What is the work-study program, Mary?
The work-study program is a federal program where the federal government awards to colleges and universities a certain dollar amount and says, award this to the students on your campus who really best meet the eligibility criteria. You have to have a financial need, and then what happens is the student comes to the campus and gets a job through the campus, either on or off. In most cases it's on, but if it's off campus, it's a program administered by the college, working. They can be jobs in our admissions office. They answer phones and they do mailings. They do filing.
Okay.
Some of our students in the library work the circulation desk. So there's a variety of jobs on the campus. It's a great way for students to add a little structure to their day in college and earn some money. They earn minimum wage typically, and typically they work, you know, 6, 7, 8 hours a week and earn $1,000 over the course of the semester. So if they really want pizza at midnight and their food service is closed, they have a little money to be able to do that.
Now, what is the Perkins Loan program?
The Perkins Loan is administered, also money is administered through the federal government. It is administered on campuses. It is designed to go to the neediest of students. It has a low fixed interest rate, and it's usually a smaller dollar amount than the federal direct loan program. The difference between the two is the direct loan program is really available to anyone who files the FAFSA. Its interest rate's a little bit higher, but the Perkins Loan works through the financial aid office and is awarded on an award letter.
And how about the last one that I see listed here, the Stafford Loans program?
As Jen was talking about, the direct Stafford loan program is a loan that is guaranteed to every student who files the FAFSA. The student just needs to file the FAFSA, and in their first year they'll be eligible for $3,500 as a starting spot, and that should be included in the financial aid award letter that the families receive.
And of course the longest one is the TAP program, right? that's been around forever?
It's been around for a very long time. One of the things that we make sure that families understand is New York State, a while ago, we were the first state in the country to do this, linked up with the federal application. And at the end of the FAFSA, the family needs to, on the confirmation page, look for an orange arrow. And they really need to see that orange arrow. It's going to use the word option to link to your state. What I want everyone to understand is you really need to take that as a please link to your New York State application so that we can consider you for the tuition assistance program. When they click that link, we will carry over information from their federal form so they're not starting with blanks. That's a wonderful thing about New York State's linking up with the feds. Once they connect, information will carry over, so it's that much easier to apply for the tuition assistance. New York State will get the information and we will determine the award and send it right over to the college for the student. So it's probably one of the most easiest forms to fill out because your blanks will come in, but you've got to look for that orange arrow and hit the link.
Who should apply for the free application for student aid, which you are calling FAFSA?
We could probably almost say everyone together is our answer.
That settles that, all right.
Everyone really should get the form in, especially the first timers. You don't know what you don't know. So get the form in to the institutions, to the federal government, to New York State. Let us tell you. As a returning student, we do need to enlighten some of our returning families. In the past, you could apply for what's called a parent direct loan or a parent plus loan without filing the FAFSA. That changed this year. So in the past, where a returning family may have been able to sign up for a parent plus loan without the FAFSA at their institution, that's no longer available. The parent plus loan is available, as the name would imply, to parents of undergraduate students. And for the first time this year, the FAFSA will be required for everyone who wants a parent plus loan. So even your returning students really need to keep going with these forms. As you continue your college education, the forms, of course, will get easier because you'll have blanks filled in and you'll just be looking at the renewal sections of your forms.
Now, the free application for student aid requires a lot of documentation, and Mary, I'm sure you meet with a lot of potential candidates for Siena College, and you help them with that. What do they need?
Well, I always tell them the FAFSA is, it's a little over 100 questions. And about 50%
a little
over 109 or something. And about 50 of those questions are demographic. Question number one is the student's first name. Question number two is the student's middle name. So don't be intimidated by the number of questions. Half of them you know without even thinking. So let's really talk about the other half, okay? The other half of the questions are really based on your financial circumstances. Your tax returns from the most recent tax year that you have completed, your W-2s from the year end of the most recent tax year are helpful documents, and then information about your current asset holdings, stocks, bonds, savings accounts, any real estate, and for larger companies and organizations, you may need to have some business value placed to that. And then, of course, with assets, any debt on those assets, because it's the net worth of the assets. So that's what you need. And the form is very good about telling you this line number from your tax return is what you need to put in this spot. This box, go look at this box on your W-2, and if there's a number there, put it here. So they give a lot of really good direction, and it's really 50 questions, and it's really fewer than 50 because it's the same questions for the student as it is for the parent. So it's repetitive questions, just from a different person. So you can do it. The vast majority of the questions you know off the top of your head, tax documents, W-2s, and information about your assets and their value is what you really need.
The other thing is there is a new addition to the form. It's another question, but it's a good question. It asks, if your tax returns are on file, would you like us to link over to the IRS? And while we want families to file as early as possible, and we don't want you to wait for your tax return, if your tax return is on file, you can go ahead and say yes to that, and they'll link them up for you after the fact. That, again, is a wonderful convenience that's being added. And the last thing is, if you want to know what you're going to be asked before you log in, there is a FAFSA worksheet that you can print off and take a look at. And I think that that will help you gather all of your documents because you'll have a heads up as to what's coming next in the questions.